Tyra Hill Show. What's up, everybody? It is your leading lady, Tyra Hill, and guess what? Flint, I'm home. I am in the great city of Flint, great state of Michigan, and today is going down as I talk with Mayor Weaver up close and personal. What's next for Flint and Flint Forward? We are now at City Hall. You don't want to miss it. Don't go nowhere. It's going down on the Tyra Hill Show. Let's talk about it. I want to talk about it. On the Tyra Hill Show. Let's talk about it, Tyra Hill Show. It's your leading lady, Tyra Hill, and I am in my hometown of Flint, Michigan, the great city of Flint, Michigan, great state of Michigan, and I am sitting with none other than the Honorable Mayor Karen Weaver. Mayor Weaver.
Yes.
Thank you for sitting with me.
I'm
first
so
and
glad
foremost.
to see you.
Finally, doesn't it seem like it's been like forever?
Yes.
I want to say to you that I've been watching you for a few years.
You know what? I didn't know it at first. I didn't
know it.
I found out. I found out.
Yeah, I was watching you because so much was going on with Flint, and I needed to see who was for Flint and who wasn't for Flint. And I always believe in giving people opportunity. And so I've been gone on the East Coast for 16 years. I knew nothing about you. I knew that you had never been in politics before. Right. So I'm like, who is this woman? What is she doing? What is wrong with her? So I decided, because I'm the chick that I don't go off what other people say. I wanted to get to know you for myself afar. Okay. And I have to make this very clear. I never called her. I never said anything bad about her. I never said anything good about her. I was watching. Now I can say all that I need to say about you because I did the work. I did my homework. So let's chop it up, Mayor Weaver.
All right.
You have been mayor of Flint since November 9th of 2015.
Correct.
There was a recall just last November of 2017. And you are the first female mayor of Flint. What made you want to run for mayor and inherit a crisis?
You know what? A lot of people ask me that because I never wanted to run for mayor. I was not involved in politics. Right, because you have a degree in psychology. Yes. And that's what I've done. Actually, I volunteered on someone's campaign.
Did you?
And I remember when I was asked to volunteer, it was actually somebody that was running for mayor. And they were running against none other than the person I ended up beating, Dan Waller. Okay. And that was my introduction into politics. And I remember when I was asked, I said, I've never been involved in politics. I don't know if I'll like it. I don't even know if I'm going to like this person, but I'll come by and see. And
a bug bit you.
I started going in, maybe a couple hours, twice a week. By the time it was over, I was there every day. Because I saw what was going on in the city of Flint, and I was concerned. This is my home, like you said. You love Flint, I love Flint, and that's what happened. So I was. It surprised
nobody
me.
Prepared. So this wasn't a preparation. This wasn't like, okay, in 2015 I'm running for mayor. This wasn't a scandal moment. Like, we're going to get you prepared for office and we're going to train you. No. You just got bit by the bug.
That's what happened. And so I was down there helping out. And then I remember they said, well, he told me, he said, if I get to City Hall, I'm taking you with me. I'm like, whatever. We're trying to get you in. And, people kept telling me, some of the people that were helping with that campaign were telling me, we need to run you for something. And I kept saying, we're trying to get this person in. I really wasn't, I was not thinking about it. And people started coming to me because we weren't successful because the governor came in and there was a state emergency manager, and I just stayed involved is what happened, and people were approaching me.
Well, see, I think that's what people need to know, because the misconception about you, and I'm going to ask you later on, what do you think the biggest conception is about you? But I'm going to tell you what I think the most biggest misconception is about you. That you just was in the psychological world working, and one day you said, I'm going to be mayor. and you just came from nowhere. Like, so people needed to hear that, like, because I didn't know that. And so I'm like, okay, well, Mayor Weaver, you're just amazing.
And you know what? And I think people don't know it because really, I was born and raised here. My mother was born here. You know, so this is where my family's been. But I just did my job. And I was really never looking for anything other than I'm doing my job. And if I knew when I went in and day out, if I had done my job, I felt good. And so that's what I've been doing all this time.
And now you have a bigger job.
Yes.
And you have a whole bunch of children, as Big Mama would say, a whole bunch of children that's depending on you.
That's right.
I want to talk about April of 2014.
Okay.
When the Flint residents were switched from Detroit water to Flint River water. Let's go back to that day for you because you were still a resident.
Right.
As a resident, what were your thoughts? I'm
not drinking that water. That was it. I said, I'm not drinking that water. It's funny, I was just having this conversation earlier today. And I said, you know, I remember when I heard that they were making the switch, and I told my husband, I said, I'm not drinking that water. We used to drink water from the Flint River. When we pull cars out of there, and grocery carts and bodies and everything, we pull out of the Flint River. So I don't want to do that. And that was a conscious decision. I said, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So that just didn't make sense.
And I asked you that question because I think a lot of times residents can't separate you from being a resident and mayor. And I wanted to know because anybody here during that time should have had a reaction, no matter if you were an everyday person, a politician. And so I wanted to know, what was your mind thoughts when you...
I wanted to know, you know, why did anybody think that was a good decision to give us Flint River water?
Well, especially when General Motors had been complaining about what the water was doing to their car parks.
Exactly.
So if it's doing this to metal, what
does it do to our bodies?
Absolutely.
And that was the question.
Well, Mayor, today is day 1,454 days that the city of Flint has not had clean, safe water. When you say the water is getting better, what exactly do you mean?
What do I mean? Okay, well, one of the things I've said, and I've said this over and over, was I would hate to have sat in this office for 2.5 years and we haven't made progress with our water, because that would make me feel like a failure, that we have not gotten better. And I said, and I would hope we'd want, you know, who doesn't want good water?
Absolutely.
So we want to make progress, and we have, because, you know, when we first started, we had, you know, testing where we had excessive levels of lead. And so where we are now, for the most part, not everywhere, and that's why we're still fighting, and what I'm still concerned about was we are getting good results.
Right.
But that's residential. Even though we still have some homes that get some high levels. And that's what the fight is about right now. I'm glad we're making progress.
But everybody needs to have clean, safe water.
And that's the fight we're in now. And it's a fight we shouldn't have been in from the beginning.
Absolutely.
And we shouldn't still be in it right now. And that's my concern, was while we've made progress, we know that these water pods should have stayed open.
Well, let's talk about the water pods.
We want to be.
And this, let me say this. Usually time when I do an interview, I never do an interview really with people that ask me for my questions. Mayor Weaver did not get a copy of my questions. I just want to clear this up. Okay. Because people think that, like, you're my favorite.
And I have what you're going to ask me.
Yeah. So let me be very, very clear. Mayor Weaver's office, nor her people, got a copy of my questions. But you're on the right track, because my next question was about the water pods. Okay. That's what made me say this.
Okay.
Last September, the state closed 4 water pods. We knew that they wanted to close all of the water pods. But you, your team, city council, the water warriors, the residents of Flint, they campaigned, they protested, they closed 4 and left 4 open. Why wasn't there an emergency plan in place just in case Snyder went fouler?
You know what? And maybe that's something that we should have looked at, but what we were told was they would stay open indefinitely. They would stay open indefinitely until we got through the lead service line replacement. And so that was the plan that was in place. And it was really, you know, it was surprising, but it wasn't, because we've been fighting ever since. And one of the things we do know is we can get some donated water. People
Right.
are still willing to
Absolutely.
donate water to the city of Flint.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't have to ask for it because
Absolutely.
it should
be
still
a
be
given.
in place
It should be a given.
by the state.
Mhm.
And that's what we've been talking about.
Mhm.
But that was what we were told. And you know, it was funny because you said he wanted to do it in September, and we fought about it and said, no, you can't do it. It doesn't make sense. We're not ready. So then January comes. They want to shut the pods down again, and we said, no, you can't do it because you haven't even tested our schools.
Absolutely.
How do you leave and you haven't tested the schools?
Absolutely.
So testing started in January. And while we've gotten some good results back, I mean, we've gotten some good results back. We've gotten some bad ones back from the schools, too. So how do you leave?
But Mary, that's just like saying, and I got a kind of an old soul, so I like to give old analogies. It's just like cooking a chicken and it's half done, and you say this side is good,
right? Eat that part,
but, eat this part, but this side over here raw,
right? I don't.
Well, it still got salmonella in it,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And so that's a good analogy, and that's why we kept saying, how do you leave? You know, I mean, you said indefinitely. We're taking you at your word, and we're looking at not only saying, because we know with this construction, what happens when you have, you know, that kind of construction going on and particulates getting shaken off and into your system. We know that we haven't gotten the good results that we want across the board with the schools. And then you gave your word, and we're trying to rebuild trust. And so we're taking you at your word that you're going to wait until we get through this process.
Do you feel like now that you can continuously trust the Snyder administration and Governor Snyder?
You know what? He didn't keep his word. And so we always have to question that.
Absolutely.
We always have to question. And, you know, I'm really disappointed because we had come a long way. We had come a long way in making some things, you know, happen for the city of Flint and having to. It was like we were forced to work together. So it was a disappointment.
Well, let me ask you this question. Let's talk GLWA.
Okay.
In November, last November, City Council voted 5-4 in favor of the GLWA deal. Most citizens were outraged. Why was this 30-year deal signed?
You know what? And that's what's so interesting, because when I first got in office and we thought we had to go with KWA, the citizens were outraged. And they didn't want KWA. They felt like, we don't want this. We want to stick with Detroit. And so, but I don't think anybody thought we could pull it off. I really don't. And so it was interesting to me because they haven't thought we could pull a lot of things off that we've been able to pull off. And so I said, well, you know what? Let's go back to the table. And first and foremost is we're talking about public health.
Absolutely.
And that was what that was the priority.
Absolutely.
In fact, that was why it was so important for us to get a chief public health advisor for the city of Flint, because this was a public health issue.
Dr.
Pamela Pugh. And it was a public health issue, and it was a public health crisis, what they did to us. And so public health was our #1 priority.
Absolutely.
And so we did not need to switch our water source again, because then you start from the very beginning.
I was going to say that, like, I think that people don't realize that once you, even with the mayor recall, once, if you wouldn't have won, and thank you, Lord, that she did, we would have had to start all over. It would have been somebody new, somebody had to get caught up, somebody, and it would have put progression behind.
Exactly.
And so I was really, really concerned about that. And you know, I caught a lot of flack for endorsing you publicly.
I heard about
But you know,
that.
I'm a girl from the hood.
I
stay ready.
But you know what? but
I stay ready.
The other thing, we had a public health issue. We couldn't afford it.
Right.
That was second. So we put money second. But we knew that we were on a good source of water. The water was testing better every single time we tested it. And so why would we want to start completely over?
Right, and that let's talk about the testing of the water. When you say, because from my understanding, it's different steps to testing. Some people get the test, some people test it, some people don't send it in. So when you don't get test results sent in, it throws the statistics off. What is the proper protocol and procedure for proper water testing in Flint?
You know what? Well, we have it different ways. And I don't mean the protocol is different, but we have different procedures because people can come in and get a test kit, whether they come and get it from us, the help centers. I wasn't going to say the pods,
right?
Because we used to, but the help centers have them as well. So we have places around the city that have the test kits, and it gives you the instruction. But we also, because we were trying to rebuild trust, we have an independent tester as well.
Is that core?
No.
Okay.
You can go through core as well. Okay. But we had a group of different people, residents from around the city, and different stakeholders come together and choose an independent tester.
Okay.
And that way, they didn't have to rely on, I don't want to come to the city, I don't want the state. We're going to have someone
outside.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so that's what we did. And in fact, I think it was last week, it might have been advertised that they were looking for people to, come to this independent tester, and that the results had nothing to do with Flint or the state, because that was another way for us to reestablish trust, because if they can corroborate the findings of these other agencies that we don't trust, then we know we're on to something and it's looking good. So that was what we wanted to do.
Okay. Let me ask you, because I had to put that question in here. Okay. GWLA. And we talked about the 30-year deal.
I have some more to say about that.
Okay, well, come on.
Because one of the things was, it was so funny because the deal we had before was 40 years.
Okay. But here's the thing. I think what people need to realize, people don't do their research, that most cities have 30 to 60-year contracts.
That's exactly right. And so that was the smallest one. That was the shortest one we could get. We were in a 40-year contract before. Nobody said one word.
One word.
They didn't say one word. But I don't think they knew either.
And that's the thing.
Right.
The more people know, the more opinions it is.
Exactly. So we were in a 40-year deal before, and no one said anything. But 30 years is all they were doing.
Well, you would have thought that you signed up for 300 years.
I know it.
People was like, 30, we don't want to be in 30 years. But let me ask you this.
You just got out of 10 years from
and now you're right.
What do you mean?
But this is why this conversation was important to me, because a lot of people don't do research. A lot of people don't read. Reading is fundamental. I say it all the time. I can put a flyer up and I say it starts at 4 o'clock, and somebody say, what time do it start?
It's like, it's
right, it's right. But this is why this conversation. So I got one more question about GLWA.
Okay.
In the first contract, it wasn't agreeable. It was some amendments put in there. Has the amended contract ask been granted, such as the $750,000 for water bill relief and $100 million in funds for water infrastructure projects? Have they, have they stood on their word? Have they started?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was why it was so important for us, because the longer the deal was put off, we had to keep paying that $700,000. It's like, we don't have.
It was like, what, every month?
We were paying, wow. I'm trying to remember how much we were paying. Was it? I want to ask somebody.
You done have so many numbers.
I know it.
But I know it was a big, extensive, and I think it was monthly. I'm almost certain it was monthly. That you guys, the longer you waited on signing this deal, you were paying them.
We were paying it.
And like, so
this
is why it was important for the deal to be locked in. And as a leader, you have to make a conscious decision and
$7 million a year is what I think we were doing.
Yeah.
And that was what we said we were going to get out of that. Because we didn't have $7 million a year. We didn't have it. And that's really, when you look at how we ended up under emergency manager, it was because of bad financial decisions that were happening. And it's like, we can't do this.
And when the city is in deficit, it's hard to produce. It's like you're trying to milk a cow, but the milk is dried up. There's no way to do it. And so you go in the red and start taking money from different things, and before you know it, it's just a down swirl. So sometimes people don't understand, as leaders, we have to make decisions that everybody might not agree with.
And sometimes you play the hand you're dealt.
Absolutely.
And it's like, well, which one do I play? So you play the best one, and that was what we did.
Well, let me ask you this. On Monday, April the 16th, you had a meeting with Governor Rick Snyder.
Yes, I did.
In that meeting, he basically said to you, Mayor Weaver, get over it. How did that meeting affect you as a leader? Did it motivate you or did it discourage you?
That's a good question.
I ask good questions.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Congressman John Lewis always say I ask good questions.
I think it motivated me really, because anytime I see a block or a barrier, it makes me want to fight hard. Mm-hmm. And so that's, I was, like I said, I was very disappointed. Yeah. I was mad too.
Well, I was mad. Well, I was disappointed. You had, your voice was shaking. Your voice,
I just sat there and said, wow, how dare you? You know, because that was like a slap in the face, not mm-hmm. just to me, but to the people of Flint, mm-hmm. to say something like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought, you really can't empathize. You really can't put yourself in other people's
uncompassionate, unsympathetic.
And I just thought that was such a disservice to us to say something like that. Let me
ask you this, because in that same press conference, mm-hmm. you talked about, and I'm a firm believer of this, I can work with anybody. Mm-hmm. If I don't like you, you don't like me, we're going to work together. And so you said that you went in there respectful. Yes. You went in, and that's one of the things that I love about you, because see, sometimes, especially as African-American people, we think we have to rah, 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 rah mm-hmm. all the time. You catch more flies with honey.
Right.
You know, so during the press conference, I heard your heart of wanting to go in there as humble as you possibly mm-hmm. could. But in that same press conference, you said that you thanked him. What exactly were you thanking him for?
You know what, I went in there because he didn't have to sign off and let us be under home rule.
Okay.
He could have said, no, Flint's not ready. Okay. And I'm not signing
What's home rule?
Where we are completely in charge. The officials, the elected officials run the city.
Okay.
And, you know, we've been under emergency manager. We had mm-hmm. that RTAB board that was appointed by the state. So mm-hmm. even though they had given us a lot of our power back, mm-hmm. we still had to run things through them. So I might sign off on something, council might vote and support it, but it still went to the state. Okay. And so that was the last piece that was in place.
Okay.
And so he could have said no.
Okay.
So I did say thank you for that. Mm-hmm. You know, like I said, we had worked together on some things. And we were talking about opportunity zones for the city of Flint when mm-hmm. we look at economic development. Mm-hmm. And I put, you know, the city had put a list together. Mm-hmm. And he said he was going to make sure Flint got represented. Okay. And that we got to be, you know, we were chosen. So he did do that. Mm-hmm. He did do that.
So it's some things that he did keep his word on. Yes. But it's some major things that he dropped the ball on.
Yes.
Well, let's go to my next. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, so that was what I was saying. You know, thank you. I'm glad you did do those mm-hmm. things. We appreciate it.
And I think a lot of times people think that when you're at odds with someone mm-hmm. and you don't agree with someone, it's okay to be disrespectful. Mm-hmm. And it's not, because as a leader, you have to operate in integrity. I done sat across from a lot of people that I didn't personally like and had to interview and smile and be like, and when the camera's cut off, I walk right out the door, but when the camera's cut off, I'm going to hug you.
That's right.
When the camera's cut off, I ain't going to walk out the door, I'm going to hug you because I like you. I'm talking about when production say cut, I be right on out the door. They be like, you don't want to take pictures? See y'all later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I want to talk about, there was a $6.1 million that the federal government granted to the state of Michigan. Snyder just announced to you that you asked for. Let's be very clear about that. Look in that camera and say it again.
I asked for it.
Mayor Karen Weaver asked for that. The government granted it. The federal government granted it to the state. Now, Governor Snyder has indicated that he's going to take $4.1 million of that 6.1, which only leaves 2, and put it towards the Board of Education. Yes. How you feeling about that?
You know what? It's really interesting because when I was meeting with him, he never said to me, "This is going to be for Flint kids to get assessments and evaluations," and that's one of the things. I mean, being a mental health provider. I'm always talking about that kind of thing. That's important to me, and we know it's important for our kids to have that. But he didn't say that to me in the meeting, that that's what it was for. So it was interesting to find out afterwards that's what it was about.
Do you think
I think it's a way to divide us.
Well, and I was going to say, let me go a little bit deeper. Do you think that it may be a form of retaliation because you now have power over the city and you've been extremely vocal out here in the world, in D.C., at the Congressional Black Caucus? I've watched you bring awareness. Do you think he might be feeling some type of way? Because see, here's the word on the street. Okay. Word on the street is that you're in bed with Governor Snyder.
Well, you know what it...
And so
how come you didn't give me some cards when I asked him to keep them open. What's he close those pods for?
Well, and see, here's the thing, because I just feel like it was just a way of them to put a collar around your neck. Like it was a form of retaliation. Like, because she doesn't want to do it our way, and she's so vocal, and she doesn't know her place. We're going to do this.
And we're going to show her.
And we're going to show her.
And you know what? But you know, a lot of people have said, "Oh yeah, she's in the bill with Snyder because I wasn't fussing every other minute." And one of the things I had to do was say, you know what? I may be angry about what's happened. That's not going to go away. But he's the governor.
Absolutely.
And he's got the resources that we need. And not only do we need them, we deserve them. So if I'm in there saying, off with your head, all the, you know, why is he going to work with me? And, you know, and it's funny because I know that the state never thought they'd end up giving us everything they've had to give us. Is it enough? No, it's not. But they never thought
that they would have to give the little bit.
Exactly. What we've gotten, that was not in their plans. I remember when this whole emergency first started, and I was in a meeting, and they told me that, you know, you've gone about this the wrong way. I said, well, if I did it, God, all you all have to tell you. And then they told me the most you're going to get is $5 million. I said, well, that's $5 million more than what we have, and I want that. But look at what it got us. You know, we've gotten close to $200 million for the lead service lines. We did get some money for in-home fixtures. It's not enough. We need some more. We had them put nurses in our schools. We should have had them anyway, but we didn't. So we got that. We got Medicaid expanded up to 21 and for all pregnant women. You know,
and that kind of fell in with the ACLU lawsuit. We're going to talk about that. Okay. So hold that thought. Okay. I got some good questions.
Gotten a lot of stuff that they never thought we'd get.
Well, see, I think the biggest other misconception is because there's so much rah, 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 rah daily in the paper, people miss what matters.
And a lot of times the paper was not our friend.
Right.
And
so this is why Tyra Hill. This is why Tyra Hill had to come home.
Going on. And if you had noticed, all of the information that was getting out was negative information. And I thought, wow. Right. You know, this is something. Right. This is really something.
Well, but you know, that's propaganda. That's media propaganda.
And that's what it was.
I want to talk about the trust. We talked about that. As of now, the residents has lost all trust in leadership, and the city is gravely divided. What are your thoughts, and are you concerned that some people are not happy with your agenda or feel as if you haven't accomplished anything?
Well, let's see. Go back to the first question. Okay. Trust. That was the first one. And that's something that's hard to reestablish. Yeah. It is. Especially when it's been lost on every single level of government. I mean, when I got in here, we've been told by our local government, we've been told by state and federal government, everything's okay with your water. When you could look and see the water.
President Obama even came and said, I drink the water, but go ahead. And I love you, President Obama.
I do too.
You know, but President Obama, you know, I had to tell Michelle, like, Michelle, why you let that man say that?
But and you know, I was so shocked. I was shocked. I said, I know they're going to bring him a bottle of water.
And they brought him
and we looked and we were like, oh, wow.
Are you really going? I was all like, no, don't drink that.
Okay, so it was, and it's hard to reestablish trust, you know, wherever it's broken. If it's broken in a relationship of friends.
Well, man, when you mess with people's money,
right?
You mess with people's kids.
You mess with their physical health, their mental health, all of that. And so that's what happened here. And so to rebuild it, that's real hard to do. And I remember them even telling me, you don't need new pipes because at some point, the pipes will get recoated because, you know, we have old pipes anyway, but they had that coating on there that protected us. And they said the pipes are going to get recoated once we start running this water again. You know, it builds up. And I said, nobody's going to trust that.
No.
You know what? I said, we're not going to wait. We got to see some pipes going in the ground, and that's what people need to see. That's the only way they're going to start to trust is if they see new pipes going into the ground. And so we had to fight for all of those things, and that's why it was so disappointing with what just happened, was because things, you know what, if you were looking at Flint, you were seeing all these positive positive things that were happening in the city. We weren't fussing about water anymore, you know, because we knew, yep, it's testing better. We're not where we want to be, but it's better. We know that we were ahead of schedule for the lead service line replacement, and we're getting ready to start back up. We had just introduced an economic development team. I mean, when you first came in City Hall, these offices were empty, so we got money for capacity for City Hall. So all these good things were happening, and then, you know, you do this.
But
we're building trust, and then you do this.
It's crazy because my next question to you, and it interacts with the trust.
Okay.
How many, because you have some residents that say, well, my pipes haven't been touched. And you have some residents say, well, my pipes have been touched. How many pipes as of today has been replaced and replaced and galvanized? And how many more needs to be done? Because I know that the state gave you, a federal judge in 2017, March of 2017, approved the $87 million settlement from the state to provide to Flint so that Flint could identify and replace 18,000 water lines by 2020.
Right.
Do you think you're going to meet that deadline?
I think we're going to beat the deadline.
Do you?
Yes.
So out of how many, well, that's good. I mean, that's great.
And that's why I was so angry that the pod stopped, because we were making progress. We were supposed to do 6,000 each year over the next 3 years to get to that 18,000. We did over 6,000. I can't give you the exact number, but we did over 6,000. Now the pipes that are copper to copper, those are the ones that don't have to be changed. We've looked at 3,000 of those, so we've either changed and or looked at almost 9,000 now.
Wow.
Right. And they started back today. I was out there earlier today. And they started replacing.
So you do be in these streets. Because the other biggest misconception, Mayor Weaver, is that you're unapproachable.
You know, and that's so interesting to me because I am out. I am worn out. I'm out so much. And it's real interesting to me because I remember when we had our previous mayor, I didn't even look for him. I never saw him, but I didn't look for him. I said, but people think, I said, you know, I get tired sometimes, and I can't be at everything, but I go to a lot of things.
People think that, I don't know, people think like you're my favorite because I support you. But I'm going to say this. You can't be two places at one time.
I know.
Y'all, let me look in the camera and say this. She can't be in the streets shaking your hand and passing out water and fighting for you at the same damn time in D.C. and around the world.
And that's what's been different about me being in office this time because of the crisis and because I have been so vocal about it. You know what? I wouldn't have been able to get the resources sitting here in Flint.
I know. And I needed, the reason why I asked the question because as much as I say I needed to make it very clear. You cannot fight for your people in Flint. You have to go outside of Flint.
If you're not in Lansing, if you're not in Washington, and really going to some of these other places where you are telling your story. You know, I mean, okay, where are the environmentalists meeting? They're having a conference in California. They're having a water conference down here in South Carolina. So if you don't go to those, and so you go to those places. If you don't go, the AfricanAmerican mayors are meeting. Do you know how supportive they've been in making sure we get, you know, to get me in front of people and places to talk about Flint?
But let's talk about that because, and this is why I said it, I was very strategic with these questions because, like I said, the streets are talking. I had questions. My mama had questions all the way from Louisiana. And so for me, it was extremely important to bring some clarity. Now, I did a live last night, and I kind of told a little bit of your business. And I said I probably would get in trouble for this.
What'd she tell?
But I told when we were in D.C. at the Congressional Black Caucus, and you were scheduled to go to the Phoenix Awards.
And I missed them.
And you called me, voice shaking, because we were supposed to meet up. And you said, sweetheart, something is happening, and I have to get back to Flint immediately. And me thinking to myself, like, don't you know Michelle Obama is going to be the guest speaker? You really can't Flint wait until the morning? And Mayor Weaver was like, no, something needs my attention now.
And I left.
And you left abruptly. And in the back of my mind, I was saying, it can wait till the morning. But that's good leadership. And so I told that story last night on my live. And I was like, she's probably going to kill me for saying this. I said, I don't know what happened, but whatever happened, it needed her undivided attention, and she was not willing to make the city of Flint or the people of Flint wait.
It's like, you know what, I'm supposed to be leaving tomorrow, but I'm in a fight right now with the governor trying to get some things. And I said, I don't think I can make it. I don't think I can make it because I need to be here right now to be that voice, to do those things. But I'm sure that I've had to be gone more than other mayors, but these aren't normal circumstances. Right. These aren't normal times. Right. And the only way to get them is when people are saying, no, you need to go here. We need to get you in front of this group.
You gotta get this voice you have to meet the people.
Yes.
And I mean, it's so funny because the world is watching. I actually got an email last week and a phone call from an organization who deals with natural, holistic ways of removing lead from your body. And one of the things they said after the interview, we're going to make sure that we send Mayor Karen Weaver and Flint the news, some reports, so we can see how we can help. Right. The world is watching.
They're watching.
Let me ask you this, Mayor, because you got a conference call coming up, so we got to keep this moving.
Okay.
We're going to talk about economical development later on.
Okay.
Because you just
that's a big one.
Yeah, because you just hired Roderick Miller.
I know it.
Yeah, I know. I see everything. We're going to talk about economical development later on, but I need to know, why aren't there any grocery stores within the urban community, and why do people have to travel miles just to get groceries?
That's a good question. That's a real good question. And that's one of the things that we've been working on as well. Because it doesn't make sense. You know, I have a theory. I have a theory, of course. But when you look at I think there were other plans for Flint.
Well, we've always known that they wanted Flint to be a college town. I've been hearing that ever since I've been in school.
And I think they wanted us to go to a different form of government as well, where you go to one where it's more county-led. And
is that why it's now
mayor form of government? And
what is it, Carmen Hills and all of this
all these other things. But they wanted us to go to a different form of government. And you know what happens is, the way we're set up right now, Flint is majority African American. When we go to a county-wide form of government, we lose our voice.
Absolutely.
You know, we are not the majority
and
anymore.
Maybe our vote.
Exactly. Because it's hard for us to win county elections, county-wide elections, because we aren't the majority. Right. That's not us.
Right.
And so I just believe there were some plans in place to take Flint into a different direction. There was disinvestment in certain areas of our community. I know where I grew up. I grew up on East Ruth Street.
If you grew up in the hood.
738.
Oh, I'm gonna ride past there today, so
Martin School used to be right across the street from my house.
Well, since you're talking about, do you live in Flint? Well, I have to ask these questions because these are questions.
You have to live in Flint.
Well, I know this, but I have to ask the questions that the fans ask me.
Yes.
Do you cook, bathe, and drink the Flint water?
I have a filter and I use bottled water.
So you, as the mayor, also use bottled water? Yeah. So you mean to tell me that you didn't use your power and have them bring you a whole new water infiltration system into your house? Girl, you don't know how to be a diva.
You know how I would be talked about. Come on. No, I didn't. I just got new fixtures. I had to get a new, fixture for my sink. I went and did that.
So you not only use bottled water and you use filter.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you this next question, because here's the thing, because the streets be talking. Let's talk donations.
Okay.
Flint has received millions of dollars and millions of dollars and millions.
But Flint has not received it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. From kind people and celebrities around the world, like Bruno. Hey, Bruno. Wait, say
hey, Bruno.
Yeah, he's so cute.
Flint would like it.
Yeah, Bruno Mars. There are several organizations such as Catholic Outreach, United Way, and many others that have been partnering with Flint. Are they willing to use the donations that they've collected to fill in the blanks?
I don't know.
So you have not had any type of conversation?
It's really interesting because, you talked about all the money that's come to Flint, and that's what people think, and they keep asking me, where's the money?
Because they act like you got the money. They act like the money is in City Hall.
You know what money we got for City Hall? We got the money from the federal government. That was the $100 million, and the state, that was the what you talked about earlier, for pipes. For pipes. We got the 2.9 million we got from Kellogg. That's the first time that money has been donated that has come to the city of Flint.
So, Mayor, are you saying that the monies that have come from all over the world,
they've gone to the Community Foundation, they've gone to the United Way, they've gone to Red Cross, they've gone to all of these other places,
and none of those organizations have had a meeting with you or your administration to say, we're going to give $1 million for the water pots closing, or we're going to give $500,000 for XYZ.
You know who I've worked the closest with, I would have to say, has been United Way.
Okay.
But it was interesting because I remember when, and I don't want to name
a
foundation,
no.
I remember saying, you know what, I'm wearing myself out, really going to all these places, getting money donated.
But Mayor, here's my problem. But here's my problem with that. Why is the mayor going to these organizations having these type of conversations when the writing is on the wall? These organizations, and let me be very clear, people are sending in their money to help the city of Flint, not to help you. And so when we send in money, we are sending it in so that the people of Flint can have what they need.
And I don't know how they determine how the money gets spent.
I've been seeing the budgets. I got some.
And that's what people, and I don't know if they realize they can go and find out.
Oh, yeah.
But they keep thinking, I have the money. And I'm like, we don't have the money.
So
that's why, and that was why we were so excited when Kellogg gave us this money, because like I said, it was the first time it showed that Kellogg had trust and faith and confidence in this administration. And not go through a third party.
Exactly. So when my boyfriend Bruno, Bruno gave that $1 million, because I was excited.
I was Foundation.
Okay, so Tyra Hill is going to have an interview with these organizations next. Mayor, the fans been talking.
Okay.
And I allowed some of them to ask you a question, but I don't do disrespect. So I had to take the respectful ones. It's only 3.
What is it?
N. Hearns of Flint wants to know, what are mothers to do who may have newborn infants and toddlers that are on formula that require water?
And so that's one of the things that we have talked about. And WIC is now, if they're going to WIC, one of the things they're doing is giving the ready-made formula now.
That's good to know.
Right, because at first they were doing the powder.
Well, see, this information don't hit the streets because there's so much negativity that's clogging all that up. So I have to ask these questions. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay, N. Hearns, you got that? WIC. Okay. C. Ross of Flint wants to know, is it true, Mayor Weaver, that homes where pipes haven't been replaced will receive delivered water weekly?
Is it true that they will?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, so that we did have something set up for people that were homebound.
Okay.
And that's what we were upset about as well, because all that stopped. I think we have, wow, is this the second week? When did he shut it down? Week before last? We had, we wanted to make sure, at least for those last 2 weeks, that the people that were homebound would still get it delivered to them. And then we don't have that in place anymore. We do have, the places, those churches and the, I can't think of what we call them.
Help centers.
Help centers, thank you.
Thank you. Say hi to the studio. We have a studio audience. They're amazing. Y'all can't see them, but we can.
We can. Okay. And so water is available there. But that was one of our concerns, was what about the people that can't get out? Right. And that was not taken into consideration. So no, it's not true. We don't have that in place anymore.
Well, Mayor, are you disappointed with the way that the churches in Flint have not united?
You know what? Have they not united? I mean, some of them have. I know.
Let me give a little bit of clarity.
Okay.
I have a problem with
Okay.
Churches individually making movements. I believe in the power of collaboration.
Right.
I believe that you get more done when you collaborate.
Well, you do.
And so when you have a city in crisis, it's unfair, and this is just my opinion, when one church on the south side is having a water drive, but the north side is hurt. When a city is in crisis, I feel like if nobody should come together, it should be the church, because when I was growing up, the church was the community.
Exactly.
And so they fill in the gaps. And so I have a problem with, and this is another show, but people tithing and can't even get water and have stuff that they need. You get what I'm saying? So I just want to see more from the the faith community, the leaders, not the parishioners, because the people in the streets.
So, well, I will have to say this, and I can't speak for all the churches.
Absolutely.
But a lot of them have come and met with me.
Okay.
And they were the ones that were really, before, you know, when I first got in here, going with me to the governor, fussing about this. And in fact, they were the ones that helped us get the $97 million from the state, was the lawsuit. Was with the concerned pastors.
So we're talking about the concerned pastors y'all be dogging out in the streets?
Right.
Look in the camera and tell them again.
That put this lawsuit together.
Okay.
And it's been, you know what else has surprised me? Because some people have gotten mad with them. They said, well, it's your fault that the pods are closing, because that was the agreement, you know, was that we're getting you $97 million for new pipes. The state has the option. They can legally close in September, but it doesn't mean they had to. And so, you know, the pastors are saying, yeah, but we brought $97 million for new pipes. And sometimes when you're negotiating, you don't get everything you want. So all of them have not come together.
Unless you've been in a negotiation, you don't know what a counter offer is. What happens is, I say, Mayor Weaver, I'm going to give City of Flint $1 million. Mayor Weaver might say, Tyra Hill, I want $2 million. That's a counter offer. She's counter offering.
And then you say, I'll give you 1.5.
Right.
Well, I want 1.8.
Right.
And you just keep going back and forth. We settle on 1.3. And then they're mad because I didn't get 2. But we had nothing at first.
Right.
And so that's what happens. They've been they've been out there.
But you can't, and with the pastors,
and they're the ones that have, in fact, when we went down to the 4 pods, we had about 12 churches that said, we're going to keep giving out water as well.
Because I think today, I was going to kind of sneak at Greater Holy Temple to volunteer. I see everything. Like today, they was like from 10 to 2. See? 10 to 2. But I was here with you because I wanted to go volunteer while I was home. And I said, I'm going to have to catch it another day because I'm always home. But Mayor, I wanted, because we only got like 10 minutes. So, because you got an important phone call. I want to talk to you because I asked you the fan questions. I want to ask you a question. I want to know, are you willing to go all of the way for Flint? And how passionate and committed are you about your job as mayor?
I've been going all the way for Flint. That's what I've been doing. And am I going to stop should be the question. And that would be no.
Do you think of yourself as a good leader?
Yes.
And what do you think is the biggest misconception about you?
Wow, I don't know. The biggest misconception about me is, I think some of it was what you said before, is she hadn't been doing anything. Some people thought I didn't have the experience to do this job. And I said, you know, really you need some leadership experience. That's what you need, is experience being a leader and having a voice and speaking up. I remember people saying, what are you going to do any differently than the past administration because you don't have any power? I said, I'm going to open my mouth. I'm going to open my mouth. I said, because one thing they can't take is my voice. And I use it a lot. That
has been your stance from the beginning of time. Nobody's going to take my voice. Nobody's going to take my voice.
And even though you see me smile with the governor, it's like you said, you get more with honey. And you know,
and
what I was
just
trying
have to respect leadership.
Exactly. Like, someone said, do you like him? I said, I respect the office of governor.
Right, but that don't mean I'm inviting him over my house and we gonna drink Kool-Aid and chicken together, eat chicken together.
Exactly.
You know, it's all about respect. You have to learn how to respect leadership roles and positions. I don't agree with number 45.
Right. I think that was one of the misconceptions because there were certain things I've been trying to get in place, and they say, oh, you want that because you're the mayor. I said, no, I want it for whoever comes behind me. There are certain things that a mayor should have. There are certain things that the president of city council should have. There are certain things that the chief of police should have because of that position they possess.
Did you have Secret Service come to where I was staying at last night and read my questions? Because my next question was about the Flint Police Department. And you just all up in my questions. I mean, I'm just asking, am I being followed? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Because you're on it. I mean, you're on it. I mean, your PR trainer is good because, you know,
But that was what people didn't. I said, you know, there are certain things that an office should have, because you want it to be represented
Absolutely.
in a respectful, dignified manner. There are certain things that Donald Trump gets because he's president, not because you like him.
Right, the perks.
But they come with that office. And so I fought for a lot of things that I knew you should have this as chief of police. You should have this as the fire chief, because you need to be represented. And you need to represent the city in a certain way. And it was
you
funny,
should have this as residents.
Right. Even when they, they talked about, because I had detail. Well, every mayor had a detail.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a radio and TV personality, and I have detail.
Right. And then when so if I go out without them, they're like, people say, "Where's your detail?" If I have them, they're like, "Why you got?"
Do you like having this? Let's go sidebar.
Okay. Do I like having
personal? Do you like having? Because I hate it.
It's
because I'm personable. I like to talk to people. It's
hard for me. And I would get in trouble because sometimes I just leave.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I like to talk to people.
I'm out of here, and I'm going without you.
Take pictures.
Exactly. Yeah. I like to do all that. But there are times where I recognized I needed it too.
Yeah. The last time I was in Flint, I needed
there are crazy things that happen, and there are people that come after you, and there are people that,
are evil, mean,
I've
crazy.
had people show up at my house. I remember one of the times my daughter was coming home, and there was a group of people out in front of our house. And so you can walk into some dangerous situations, and it doesn't have to be from residents. Even when you have declared a water crisis and you've cut some money from some people, you've done some things, and people don't like that. People don't like that, and so you have to watch out. It's funny because I do watch.
Well, and not only that, I want to be very, very clear. It's a double whammy. You're stepping on toes, you're a woman, and you black. So you really need to be looking over your shoulder.
I said, because they don't, that's two reasons they don't like you.
Well,
that's
Mary,
2 reasons.
You talked about the Flint Police Department. Okay, so let's talk Flint Police Department, FPD. Your adopted budget for fiscal years 18 and 19 pertaining to the Flint Police Department Flint Police Department states that you have 60 police, 9 which of our police officers, 51 are civilians. Your 2018 and 2019 recommended budget came to a total of $28,318,853. Does this mean, Mayor Weaver, that we will see more police officers on the streets in the city of Flint?
No. Isn't that sad?
Wow.
No. And we had to get a millage pass to keep the ones we have.
So when I just said that we have 9 officers
on a shift.
On a shift, okay. So how many? We ain't getting no more police on the streets of the city of Flint.
You know what we're doing? I'll tell you what the chief has done, and that's why that budget is so important. And in fact, it's nice because the council we had in place before tried to cut the chief of police's budget. How do you cut this budget? We need more police officers.
Well, because it goes, let me say this. The people are probably wondering, what does it go for? It goes for training. It goes for equipment, lockup, jail, leads, records. You guys still have rape kits that still hasn't been tested.
For so many things, and that's what people don't understand. And really, public safety is the biggest part of our budget.
Absolutely, that was the biggest part of your budget.
When you put the 2 of those together, it's
I didn't even want to put all of the numbers together because I didn't want to blow people's minds.
But it's important because you know what? Especially while we've looked at this water, if we didn't have a water crisis, our #1 issue is public safety.
Absolutely.
Public safety. And so when we were trying to, if we're talking about bringing companies and developers in, well, their first question was, are you addressing the water? They saw we were addressing the water. The next question is public safety. Because, we were always in the top 10 for most cities. Right. And it was, what got me was, this year, we weren't even in the top 30.
You weren't in the top 10? No, you weren't in the top 30. And it was crazy.
Nobody said anything
but I shared it. I was excited about it because Flint's name wasn't nowhere there. And I was like, yes. But nobody said anything about it.
And we're doing that with the number of officers we have. And so I do have to give a shout out because our chief of police has really, he's gotten people to donate things. They donated security equipment, cars, yes. Getting some vests donated right now.
I see in the budget, though, you cut out the K9 unit. it was $0 from there, and I understood.
Right, and I don't know really what happened with that.
I read
so that was that was a decision that the
but that's cool because you have to cut certain budgets to put stuff certain places.
We did put the Intel Center, and that's what's really nice. So we have cameras in a lot of places so they can watch things as they're happening now.
Well, Mayor, before we close out this interview, because I've had so much fun, were you scared?
To what?
The interview with me?
No, I was excited.
Were you excited?
Yeah,
I was excited. I stayed in bed till like 5 o'clock this morning. I was really excited.
You are world known all over. Come on,
I just love you.
All over the place. I couldn't wait to come and talk to you. I'm like, she's coming to Flint.
Oh my! Well, that's how I'm always here. I'm here like 10 times a year.
So I got excited. I got really excited yesterday.
I'm gonna have to come to your house and cook you some food.
Well,
you know I like to cook.
Well, come on.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you up on that. Make you a crab cake from Baltimore.
See,
I made my own recipe. Because their recipe was whack, so I had to put the Flint. I had to put the Flint, the Flint style up in there.
Bring some.
Yeah, but Mayor, I wanted to thank you for taking time up out of your
quickest hour.
But production goes like that.
It's been so
I tell people that all the time.
We have to do this again.
Yeah, we're gonna chop it up
because
some
we
more.
need to let people know what's going on.
Yeah, I just want to thank you because I know you're busy. I know you have a meeting, and I got like probably 5 minutes. So
okay,
real quick. Y'all just hired. Well, let me be professional. You all just hired an economical developer director.
Yes.
He goes by the name of Roderick Miller. He is, I Googled him. He is a beast. 15 years experience. He is the CEO of Extending Global Firm. He has worked in NOLA, Detroit, all of the urban cities that needed some redevelopment. He's a $1 billion man. Like I did extensive. I had my team sending me extensive because I wanted to know if he was it. I like him for Flint. And you know why I like him for Flint? Because during his press conference, he said one sentence that caught me. He said, the asset to Flint is the residents. The Flint residents are the asset. And so that moved me. Now let me ask you, will we see more jobs for residents where there be housing? Will we see urban development projects, or will downtown just be the main focus?
No, you will see that, and I can't wait. And we're hoping, so you all keep praying for us on this one because we applied for a $30 million Choice Neighborhood grant.
Wow.
And we're in the top 6 finalists. We won't find out until July if we're getting that money because we want to put some more neighborhoods, you know, and houses and places to live in neighborhoods. I mean, and that's what I've told people. I recognize that any thriving city has a thriving downtown, but you can't just focus on one area. And everybody can't live downtown.
Do you feel like they're trying, that today is a modern day genocide, that they want all of the black people to leave from Flint?
Well, I told you I thought there was another plan.
Okay.
And
that's safe to say. We'll keep it right there.
But that's exactly what we're working on is more jobs. You know, Lear came. They've hired about 100 people so far, but they're going to hire at least 450 to 500 people. For the city of Flint, they're going to bring another 150 that will be working here. So that's a good thing. We have some other deals that we're working on right now,
can talk about.
And some housing. In fact. That was why this Choice Neighborhood thing was so important to us because they're doing some houses downtown where the YWCA used to be. That's going to be a mixed housing place. So that's going to be good. There's something that's going to be over by McLaren, but we wanted to get something that was going further north on the north side.
That's what I want to see.
So that's why that was so important to us. You talked about grocery stores. I know that Pastor Flynn is working on a grocery store, a co-op on the north side of Flint. I know Hamady is talking about opening back up on the north side of Flint.
They just got a notice on their door.
I think they're through it. I just saw them today.
Okay. So I went and got talk about that then.
So we are looking at that, and that is what we have to have. And I'm going to tell you something that I liked about Rob when I was talking with him. Because, you know, people are saying, oh, yeah, we're going to bring these $150,000 jobs to Flint. He said, we're going to do that, but we're going to bring some $50,000 jobs and 60 and 70 and 80. We got to bring some jobs that make a difference to everybody. We can't just focus on jobs up here. We need some jobs at all levels, and that's what he wants.
He's for the residents.
Exactly.
He's for the forgotten.
Exactly.
And I got that from him. And then I just like smart, educated people that know their job and know what they're doing. And his resume speaks volumes.
And if you look at the people that we've been hiring, got some good people. We've got some good people working here.
Well, and that was the thing. A lot of people are mad because you are hiring these people, but these jobs need to be filled because we can't advance without the right people in place.
And that's the thing. You know, when I got into City Hall, like I said, these hallways, these rooms were empty. They were empty. I said, you couldn't run City Hall if nothing was going on. You know, let alone a water crisis. And so, well, you couldn't. Come in. I mean, we didn't have anybody. You know, when you walked in and you see the two women sitting, we had no one there.
Nobody was there.
Nobody. I had an executive, administrative assistant. So when somebody would come to the front door, she'd run up there. And people would say, we can't reach you because her voicemail fills up. I know, because she's going. And then I got somebody.
So not only have you been going hard for the city, you've uprooted and replanted. I want to say this to you. It's never easy to lead and bleed at the same damn time.
Right. And that's what's been happening.
And you can't pick one because most times, I do it all the time. I'm leading and I'm bleeding at the same time.
At the same time, it's hard.
And it's hard because you got people that's dependent on you.
Right.
You got people that's praying for you and supporting you. I want to ask you, I have 3 last questions. Okay. Who is Karen Weaver?
Who is Karen Weaver?
Who is Karen Weaver?
A resident from the city of Flint. And I'm a Northern Viking. I gotta put that in there. I'm a Northern Viking. But I'm just somebody from Flint that loves Flint. You know, it's my home. And
because you're about to get teary-eyed. Why are you getting teary-eyed? You really love Flint.
Yeah.
Even after they done said all of the crazy, mean, volatile, tumultuous stuff about you, and you still rocking for Flint.
Yeah, because you know what? One thing I've always told them is nobody ever expected me to be here. And I know how I got here was through God and the people. Really. That was how I got here.
I remember when you first got into mayor and y'all was downtown and y'all had on the Greenway, and you won. And I was at home in Baltimore. And I was like, I got excited. As if, what was it, the song? Where was y'all at? Was it the song?
After the recall?
Yeah. No, not the recall, the first one. Raspberries.
Raspberries.
And the look on your face. You was looking like you were happy, but you were in shock. And I remember saying, Lord,
be with her.
Be with her, because she's up for the
fight
of her life.
Keep me in prayer. Really.
Well, let me ask you this.
What?
Who is Mayor Karen Weaver?
A fighter for the people. That's who I am.
Is there a big difference between Karen Weaver and Mayor Karen Weaver?
Yeah. Okay. Just in one area.
What area?
Karen Weaver is not you know, the things you say you can't do as mayor, I have to go in my back office and stomp my feet and yell. I remember I told Candace, I said, I do. I said, and then I have to come out and be
mayor.
In my real life, I talk like I want to talk.
Yeah. Well, we are. Me too, Mayor Weaver. I'm talking about when I text you. Let me tell you, when I text you, I have to erase it and come back because I never want to disrespect you. But sometimes Tyra Lee wants to pop off on your behalf. Yeah. And I be wanting to say, Mayor Weaver, you need to and then I be like, good evening, Honorable Mayor Weaver. Right. Because that's how I text
them. And so that's the hard part for me is to, you know, like I said, even when I went into the governor, is say, you know, let me be professional, let me be respectful, because I really want to say some other words sometimes.
I know. You have 45 seconds. Look right there in that camera.
Okay.
What is it that you would like to say to your city and your people
you're leading? I want to talk. Really, I need to thank them. I said because they believed in me and they believed in the direction the city was going, because they put me right back in office when there were 18 people running against me. They came out big time. And they supported me, and that made me feel just really, really good. And it let me know that I was doing the right thing for, you know, for the people. And, you know, there were some people that were against me, but it was obviously not the majority. And I'm going to keep standing strong.
And I'm going to be standing right next to you. Because Flint forward. What can we expect for Flint in the next year or so, Mayor?
I think we need to expect the unexpected, because that's what we've been showing people. Like I said, in the next year, if we're not completed with the lead service line replacement, we should be close to that. You will see some more jobs, because that's what we've been talking about, and I can't wait to be able to tell, you know, because we have some announcements that are going to be coming up. I think Flint is going to look different.
It is.
I think Flint's going to look different. You're going to see housing going up, and you can just see, I mean, we're some strong folk up here.
We are
resilient,
strong, resilient,
and we don't
resourceful
people. And so even though we hit bumps in the road, it doesn't stop us.
Absolutely.
And I think we're unstoppable, and I've told people, you know, we're Flintstones, and welcome to Bedrock.
On that note, you guys, it's been real. Mayor Weaver, thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you came.
You guys connect with the Tyra Hill Show, www.thetyrahillshow.com. If you're on Instagram, that would be IG, baby. The Tyra Hill Show. Twitter, @Tyra Hill Show. Check me out. I love you guys. I love Flint. Flint, make sure you make a conscious decision to either be a part of the solution, and if you're not going to be a part of the solution, go stand in the corner and count to 10 until we tell you to come out. Okay? All right. Love you guys. Peace and blessings. Thank you so much. Let's talk about it, Tyra Hill Show.